It is my immense pleasure to welcome you all to this session, which is very aptly titled Smashing Stereotypes. A bare glance at all your professional journeys will evidence that each of you all have firmly believed in shattering the glass ceiling and smashing stereotypes. Our panelists today are from Australia, Sri Lanka, Greece, Jordan, and UAE. And you're all part of some key leadership positions. I'm very excited and inspired in equal parts to hear about your journey and some words of wisdom from you. Today on the panel, we have with us Alison Cusack, Shehara de Silva, Elpi Petraki, Malak Akiely, and Hessa Malek. Before proceeding with the questions, I just take a few moments to introduce each of our panelists. Alison Cusack is the founder and principal lawyer of Cusack & Co., an innovative and forward-thinking maritime law firm. Alison's approach to business is fresh-minded, progressive, and inclusive. In addition to her female-founded firm, she has championed Vista Australia as president for the last 3 years. Shehara de Silva is creating waves in local and global markets as she drives the future vision for the McLarens Group, one of the country's largest shipping conglomerates, as the group managing director. In 2017, Shehara was appointed as the first female office bearer in the 50-year history of the Ceylon Association of Shipping Agents. She is the first and only female Formula race driver in Sri Lanka and actively participates in national motor racing events. Elpi Petraki has been working in ENEA Management Inc. for the last 23 years. It is a traditional shipping company of Greek interest that manages a fleet of small-sized, clean and specialized tankers. In her capacity as the president of the Women in Shipping Trading Association, Hella, she has as a continuous goal to encourage diversity and support the empowerment of women. She's also a member of the board of the Hellenic Maritime Museum, assisting in the preservation of maritime history. Malak Akiely is the founder and managing director of Golden Wheat for Grain Trading. She represents first-class international grain trading companies. She's the sole female owner of such a company in the Middle East and North Africa region for over 13 years. First Jordanian woman to cross 80 degrees North Pole and went to the Arctic expedition with 100 billion people across continents. And Hessa Malek, she is the advisor to the Minister for Maritime Transport Affairs, the UAE Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. Hessa has been a trailblazer in the maritime industry, both regionally and globally. She has over 20 years of experience in distinctive fields, is the president of the Arab Women in Maritime Association, and she has been recently appointed as the first regional ambassador of the Global Maritime Club. I welcome you all. So my first question is to Alison. When you joined your career, did you imagine being a leader in a male-dominated profession?
No. I just wanted to go to work and be a shipping lawyer. I was just such a nerd for it. And I was so excited because Australia is a very small market when it comes to maritime law. I was just thrilled to have a job. So no, I didn't think I was going to be a leader. I just wanted to be the best, little industrious nerd I could be when it came to being a maritime lawyer. Obviously that changed.
Yes. My next question is to Shehara. How did you reach your level of success given the sector's gender gap?
Well, yes, of course, maritime is a male-dominated industry, but that's not something I really thought about when I joined shipping. It's just that I focused on doing the best job I could at whatever I was doing. Of course, I did learn to love the industry. I love the dynamism. I love the change, and that I was learning something new every day. So when I enjoy doing something, I put my heart and soul into it, and just just went on with that. But when it particularly, I would say 3 factors that I could look at. And one is hard work. I don't think there's any substitute for hard work wherever you go and whatever you do. And that means sometimes being a woman, you might have to work a little bit harder than the men because of the gender gap and because we tend to get a little bit I don't know the word to use, maybe it's sideline or not seen or not heard. So you need to know your facts better than everybody else. You need to do that extra work. You need to know what you're talking about if you're or really work really hard at whatever you're doing. I think that's number 1. Number 2, I think I got a lot of support from everybody around me, and that includes family, friends, colleagues, men and women. It's not I don't think you have to work in hand with all the males as well as females in the industry. And I think that collective teamwork approach has really helped me. And especially when I formed Vista as well in Sri Lanka, with the support of all the Vista sisters here in Sri Lanka, really helped to build a support network and also a great sort of networking culture among us here in Sri Lanka. And finally, I think you need to be confident in whatever you're saying and doing, and be honest and straightforward. So I think those are some of the little things that's helped in a male-dominated industry.
Thank you. Elpi, the same question to you. How did you reach your level of success given the sector's gender gap?
I think, first of all, I personally had that self-confidence. So I never thought maybe I was raised this way. I never thought that there was a difference between men or women. I think family, is the root of this self-confidence. And yes, it is a male-dominated sector, but I think this is just based to the history of it, to the nature of it. Mainly managers used to come out of the vessels, and vessels used to be just male-dominated place. With the increase of the need for people, we learned to focus not only on men, but people and to abilities. And so with hard work and by proving yourself that you can do it, you can go a step forward. Yes, for women, it is a bit different because we have families to raise, so maybe children, maybe elders at home, that we need to focus to that as well. But you need to learn to have the supportive system. So, and to try hard for that. So nothing can hold you back. Maybe a few years in your life, you can, just focus on other things a bit more, but then I think you can still go on and make your word be heard.
That's true. Malak, how does it feel to be the sole female owner of such a company in the Middle East and North Africa region? Did you start off with this goal in mind?
I wish. First, good morning to all of you, and thank you for having us and sharing our knowledge and expertise and our personal stories. So for me personally, I started with more of a passion, being just active and just wanted to professionally network and learn from people. And during this journey, you just learn more of what you need. You just become more aware and take ownership of your own career. So I think that would help me in what where I reach now. And I do believe also with building your knowledge and expanding your knowledge, and also with the values and building your own personal brand, you will always excel. So I haven't thought actually about, and I have to reiterate and also echo what Elfi she said, because I don't have this male-female thing. I was always focused on what I can bring and add value to the table and what I'm bringing. So I think that helped a lot, more of the conversation of a male-female thing. So I was always focused on what I can bring as a human being, and also the values I can bring across the organization or the clients or the companies I deal with. So it feels exciting. It feels sometimes overwhelming. It feels a lot of responsibility, but definitely it's worth the journey.
My next question is to Hessa. What made you choose this career path, especially given your involvement with government agencies?
Actually, when you did not choose your path, actually it comes to you. I'm an engineer, so I came from a very different background. I came from, I was a site engineer. I was in charge of buildings. I was in charge of highways. So when it comes to the maritime sector, actually, everybody was curious. It's a male dominant. I said, okay, but I came also from another male dominant sector. So if I can be a successful lady over there, so I'll be here in maritime. Actually, maritime, it was for me kind of a mystery. There's something, I felt at that time that there's something important, something interesting. I don't know much about it, but I wanna go through this journey to learn. And if I can do something to my country. So I have a good support from our minister. He's male. Okay, he's supporting me regardless, male and female. When he saw my passion about it. So as my colleagues mentioned, if you're passionate about something and you feel the importance of it and you have enough commitment to balance between your personal life and your career, and you deliver as much as you can, you will success on it. At the governmental sector, it's not like when you work your own business. I have to fulfill the government, goals and strategy. So it's even more challengeable. It's not my decision. I have to fulfill the government requirements. So it's more challengeable because sometimes I saw something very good in a certain way where they want me to focus more on another area. So to driven the government attention to this area, it's really more challengeable than competing with the idea of being female surrounded by males. So this is mine.
Thank you. My next question is to Alison. When did you realize that you wanted to be a part of the maritime industry? Or what about this industry appealed to you? And then you can also tell us quickly how you didn't start off with that goal, but how does it feel now to be such a leader in this male-dominated industry?
I think I forget that I'm a leader because I feel like I'm always trying to do more and more and more and get to that level where, when I speak, people care. And then if they care, they do something. And you spend so much of your career fighting to get into the room and then you get into the room and you're like, am I here? Am I about to be kicked out? So I think that's why sometimes I'm like, leader, I'm still just trying to annoy all these senior people in the industry. But as for the maritime, when did I discover it and fell immediately in love with maritime law? So I was doing my law degree and I had switched from doing electrical engineering, which, as any of the electrical engineers know, it's in the nano. So 10 to the -9, you're dealing with basically invisible things. And then I went to switch up, was no good at that. And then I switched to law commerce, and you do fake law court. So they call them moots. So competition junkie, I was like, yeah, I want to do public speaking and I get to argue with people. And I missed out on the sort of premier one. And I said, there's this maritime arbitration moot, but we don't teach maritime law. You'll have to just figure it out on your own. If you want to give up your summer, I'll do it. I'll learn, learning about safe ports. And I also learned about general average, which is like the super nichest part of maritime law because it happens so rarely. But I immediately fell in love with the concept of general average. I was like, there's something about everyone mucking in together to be like, no one's left behind, right? And I know that's a very, very simplistic view of general average, but there was this concept of, no, we started together and we're going to end together and we've got your back. Yeah, we might have had to jettison your cargo for us to all continue, but we'll chip in. You won't be left out to dry. And so when I was like, okay, there's these massive ships crashing into these wharves or containers falling over, I can see that. I can see that. That is tangible and that is physical. And I just got really excited. And in a very naive way, I was like, pirates, you know, in the more kind of mythical way, not the actual current pirates. I always have to distinguish that, but just seemed cool and fun. And I know everyone hates this answer, but it's so romantic in the sense that it's living history. There's like barely any reason to issue 3 bills of lading anymore. And we do it. There's like all these like really nice nuances and things that are just, no, we do it because we're retaining that piece of history. It makes no current sense, but you know, it's part of its charm, right? Immediately fell in love and I was like, that's what I'm doing. There were no jobs, but that's what I'm doing. And I do want to echo what everyone else said, that my dad and mum growing up was like, you do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And I think that's when I got into the shipping industry and I ran headlong into attitudes that weren't immediately accepting or encouraging. It's that classic thing that, you know, every woman has that story where it's like sink or swim. And I'm like, the alternative is I don't get to do what I love. And that's just not going to cut it for me. So I'm just going to push and push and push to carve out this space for myself and anyone that wants to follow. So I get to do what I love. And that's why I started my firm, because I wanted to practice shipping law and I wanted to do it in a way that I wanted to do it. And I also wanted to do it in a space where I could live my values every day and I could call out stuff in the industry without someone more senior going, Alison, but our shareholders, Alison, but our brand, Alison, but our customers. All of my clients know exactly who I am, the values I stand for. So yeah, I'll do it however I need to, whether I need to be a battering ram or the charm offensive, but I'm going to knock down all those barriers so I can have this nice space to exist and not be like, make myself smaller and smaller and smaller. Sorry, I don't want to, no, I just want to be here, be in the room and not have to fight to get in the room.
That is really motivating. So I'll ask my next question to Shehara. As a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
Sorry, I keep forgetting to unmute. Yeah, so I think I've been in shipping for 18 years now. So along the way, I guess there's been different, I would say, obstacles, which I feel I have overcome. But overall, if you talk about, apart from the usual sort of setbacks that you would have in business or in a career, in my part of the world, people are still very traditional. And having a female in places of leadership in the shipping industry is still evolving. Of course, women representation has increased and improved vastly over the last 20 years. Like, for example, women are doing things that they could never dream of 20 years ago. I mean, they're flying planes, they're heading companies, they're on boards and the like. So even in the corporate sector, there are so many initiatives to encourage women participation, encourage females coming back to work after having babies or having help with childcare. There's all of that sort of women empowerment lingo all around. But I would say something that still remains, at least in my country and in the culture, is unconscious bias. This is kind of something I have faced personally as well. It's something which is not said. It's more subtle. It's something that you feel in a room full of men where something you say may not be received as well as a man would say it. Or for example, if you're aggressive or you're strong, that would be viewed as, oh, you're a woman and she should be meek and calm and but if a man is aggressive, then he's a great leader and he's strong. So how the world or how society, the business community perceives a woman's strength, I think is still an obstacle. And a woman having to, balance everything around herself in terms of children and, shared household childcare responsibilities is not evolved in this country and in this society. Of course, this can vary from individual to individual. I'm not generalizing, but definitely these have been obstacles, especially when dealing with government departments, like, customs and very traditional areas of the industry. So yeah, I would say unconscious bias is something, is a barrier that I've seen continuously.
Right, quite relatable because we face similar issues in India as well. So I'll ask Elpi my next question. Have you ever experienced resistance when you're leading men, and how have you dealt with it?
Okay, so I've been in this field for 23 years. So obviously things have changed a lot in the past years. I do see the new generation coming in and really have a different perspective from what I faced when I grew up. As coming in, okay, as I said, I could not maybe realize the barriers. And I tried to have a strong voice, but to tell you the truth, to make it public and to make it strong enough for others to hear, apart from the room I was in, was hard for me as well. And it took some people encouraging me to do that. And I really feel strong of this. This is why WISTA is so important for me, and I think the role is so important. When I started following WISTA very closely, I really get inspired from other ladies. And not only ladies, men. I mean, the people who introduced me to WISTA were men. So they did see the need. So I will not talk about barriers because we face barriers every day, not only shipping, everybody's facing, even men are facing barriers. I think we need to give people the chance to be who they are and bring the best of their self out there. We need everybody. And in shipping as well. Yes, it is difficult sometimes to make people that are older with different ideas and they have more biases. They grew up in a different world to make them understand. But if we have more women and more men who accept diversity and gender equality everywhere, then I think these barriers will stop. I think we are in a very good place now. My mom used to be in the shipping, so imagine that, like 50 years ago. And she did find support as well, even then. Of course, I'm in a different part of the world, and she used to work in the UK, so it is different. But we have to understand, it's not the same everywhere. And it's not the same in every room you will get in. Maybe if you get into a room, let's say in Europe, you will be treated different than maybe you get a room, I don't want to mention countries, but other places in the world. But as long as you feel strong, and if you have other people in there who support you, then you can go ahead. And women have to overcome this shyness they have. They feel they don't deserve to be heard. They need to lay low so they will not disturb the room. But it's not a matter of aggressiveness or anything. It's an opinion that has to be heard.
As you said earlier as well, focus on ability and not the gender. So I'll ask my next question to Malak. Please tell us about some of the obstacles that you faced and what are your key takeaways or how have you dealt with it?
Oh, wow. Obstacles, it's, I think not only me, but most of us, we face on a daily basis, on a many levels, and it depends, also varies on the intensity. And well, since we're talking about the topic is smashing stereotypes, I'll start with one of my personal obstacles is actually smashing our perspective, our stereotypes about ourselves and about our own conscious biases, what we think that we have the low esteem, or we don't deserve to be in the room with the board of like as a one member of the board. So I start with these obstacles, which I witnessed and I saw the development within myself. And I always, when I as a mentor to my mentees, I always tell them that we have to smash our own perspectives and our own the views and our own judgments about ourselves and our fears of the judge, like being judged by others. I think if we started by smashing that, we'll be in a very different and healthy space, and also taking care about our mental strength and resiliency, regardless of what we do on a daily basis. So the obstacles, I think, once you master it internally and work on yourself, then the rest, it would be very easy, because the obstacles, like, I mean, in the business world or what we do on a daily basis, it's really challenging, it's changing. Some of the things you can control, some of the things you can't control, whether in your business with COVID, this is the things you cannot control. But if you are not well structured and have this mental strength, then it would be a real obstacle, because it's always about the mental health and strength and resiliency within you. The rest is, you can manage it, you can reach out to people. Also, what's all of you mentioned about getting the right people next to us to support us, and having this collective expertise and knowledge from the people we trust to be next to our, to our side and support us and put us there. So yes, the obstacles, I think one of my obstacles was, thank God I'm still working on it, is smashing everything you feared of or think that you are not capable of. Nothing is impossible, everything is possible, and the sky is like, space is not even like, space is our, we should always aim for the space.
Thank you. Hessa, how challenging has it been to be actively involved and heading some of the key policy-making executive management bodies, given the gender bias involved?
Actually, I'm fortunate that I have a very supportive government. Here in UAE, they really support female in a leadership position. As you know, we have like 7 female ministers in our cabinet. They don't have that, with the support of the government and of our leaders, they make it easier for us to hold our leadership position and doing our job. And I believe, when you work with the males, if they feel that you have the knowledge and you are willing to deal with them and at the required respect pace, so they are willing to follow. I think because I work in a different male dominant area, if you just give them the feeling that you are capable to lead them, you have the knowledge, you deal with them in a great way, humble, you have a good conversation between you and them, appreciating their ideas and appreciating their support. If you all the time appreciating, without your support, I cannot do it, they keep supporting you. So we have to manipulate it, and we have to give them this, feeling that they support us to succeed. So, and I really appreciate your support. That's why they will be more keen to give me the things that make me a successful leader, just to make them like a successful team with me. I believe with this kind of tricks, with wherever you will go, you can handle it and you can success in your position.
It's actually an interesting take on this simple mind games. So Alison, with so many options out there, how did you decide that this is where you belonged?
I don't know that I felt like I belonged for a long time, but I wanted to be here. So, and I, growing up, I was a lot younger than my other siblings and my cousins, and I was younger than my classmates. So I think I always felt a little bit a fish out of water. So it wasn't new to me. So it was probably really when I started finding Worcester. Worcester found me. The founding president of Worcester Australia, Danella Wilmshurst, introduced me to Worcester. She's like, there's this group. And I was like, what? Women in shipping? I'm there. And she was like, excellent. And I was in this room with all these ladies, and I was like, just all these ladies are into shipping. This is the best. And then I remember going to a Shipping Australia lunch, and we had a whole table of ladies, and there was a little organizational snafu, and they were like, oh, are we all good now? And me and one of the ladies were like, well, no, you haven't fixed it. And we were just like bonding together, and we're like, no, we've got each other's back now. This is great. And I think it was also when I went to the Worcester APAC conference in Hong Kong in 2019. I really remember being on the junk boat, and I was sitting next to Despina, and I was saying, oh, I'm just so exhausted, Despina. We're never going to win this fight. Like it's just never ending, and I'm so tired, and what's the point? And Despina was so gorgeous and lovely, and was like, yeah, we just got to keep, but we're making progress. We just got to keep at it. And getting to talk to someone who got it and I could lean on for that sort of support and encouragement and cup filling, and it wasn't just sort of into the abyss and saying like, like, oh, but it's fine. My most hated phrase is, oh, this is the best it's ever been. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't make it good enough. I'm sorry, as Malak said, we're shooting for space and also smashing our own stereotypes. Damn, I got goosebumps. So yeah, I think there's these micro moments that I go, people like want me here. I think another moment was when I got appointed to the Australian Maritime Safety Authority Shipping Consultative Forum. There's 10 appointed members, and Worcester Australia is one of them, and I, as the president, was sitting there, and I'm in this meeting, and I'm saying, well, such and such organization, you're not really doing that well. I think you really need to step up your game, and such, you need to step up and do your game. And all the while my voice is shaking, and I'm like, I'm going to get booted out of this forum. Who am I? Maybe I'm supposed to just like get here and like be nice. I don't know how the game works. And they're all like, yeah, thanks, Alison. We really need your perspective. We're so glad you're here, and we're so glad you're speaking up. And I was like, it's these moments in time where you go, and you can kind of, I don't know if it's just me, but there's almost like an exhale. Yeah. And you're not always on guard with the biases and whatever else, because but yeah, no, I didn't feel like I belonged, and I don't think I was welcome to immediately feel like I belonged, but damn straight, this is my industry. I choose to belong, simple as that.
Yeah. Own it. So Elpi, how overwhelming can your job get?
Okay, so shipping is a 24-hour job, 7 days a week. Time is never enough, and things can happen anytime. And this is the exciting part of it. And this is why we all love it, I think. Yes, it is overwhelming sometimes when you have to balance family and work and traveling. And in order to do it good, you have to do it a lot, and you have to prove yourself. You're a professional there. Yes, this might be a big difference between men and women because we have a lot on our back. Societies are changing, though. As I said, young kids are not the same anymore. I was lucky enough to be with the youngsters of 20 years old students in an island in a workshop this summer. And really their mindset is totally different than what ours was. And I'm so happy for that. And it's just people for what they're worth of. And so, yes, it is overwhelming, but it's so interesting that it doesn't really matter. Yes, you sometimes want to have some rest and, to switch the button off. You cannot do it very easily. You have to reach at a level, and this is where you have to get other people, invest in people. So you have your back. if you train people to do the job as well as you think they should do it, it's a personal opinion, and each business is different, but you have to train people. We have to pass the knowledge, and by passing the knowledge, we have people who can stand after us, and you can trust them. So yes, then it will not be overwhelming, but there's so many things in shipping happening those days. So we have new legislations, COVID was there. Yeah, it was very overwhelming. The crew matters, lives at sea that were stranded. All these were really overwhelming, and a lot of accidents happening to the industry, to raise awareness of how important our industry is for our everyday life. All these are not as such the part of our business, of everyday business, but it is something that we need to raise awareness so other people can see the importance of our business. Like as we see it, we believe it is the most important work in the world.
Thank you. My next question is to Shehara. The maritime industry, racing, charity for the less fortunate, how do you manage all of it? And have these varied interests just made you a more wholesome person?
Well, I think I've pursued interests that I've been passionate about from the time I was a child. I grew up in a shipping family, third generation shipping professional. So I think dinner table conversation was always around shipping or business. So I automatically grew into that liking. It's the same with racing. Again, my dad at the time was the national champion in the local racing circuit, and then I just slowly got into it. Of course, having a female take part at that time was not heard of, and I had to sort of break a few barriers to get there. But once I did, again, I didn't think of myself as a male or female. I was on a grid whenever I took part in racing events. It was just me and 20 other males. So I just think of myself on concentrating on doing what I do. And I think there was a lot of synergies as well from the racetrack, which I got to work in terms of never giving up, extreme focus, that kind of teamwork, preparation, learning to take losses, being extremely focused. I think I got a lot of those lessons that I from the racetrack to the boardroom, and I think it even helped me. Going on a race weekend would help me switch off from work as well. So they really did complement each other, and I think I would probably along with my bring up my children and also doing the charity work that I do is something that's close to my heart. So it's something that I believe in. Everything I do is something I'm passionate about. So I think I need that diversity, that variation to keep me interested, because I would get bored otherwise easily. So I think balancing it all is, again, with a lot of help from my family and my friends, and being extremely organized. I mean, you need to calendar everything, including when every small thing needs to be scheduled and calendared. So I think a lot of organization is also required to balance a lot.
Thank you. So Malak, first Jordanian woman to cross the 80-degree North Pole. How did this happen? And please tell us about your experience.
So it's a foundation called Future Talk. So it's a global community of doers and thinkers and leaders. And the idea, I was asked by one of my friends, she's a young global leader with a WEF, to join this trip. And I just said yes. And I had no idea about that it was an Arctic expedition. And I just said yes. I just joined these wonderful 100 people. And mostly we were on this journey to witness and discuss and see the urgent global matters of the world, and one of them, of course, clearly is climate change. So I went with this perspective, like abstract of the climate change, but when you see it firsthand and we see the glaciers going down when you are kayaking, you will get terrified. And it's interesting because when I got back, and when you talk to our region, for example, sometimes it's not one of the top priorities of our discussions. And I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years ago, but it depends on the approach. So if you tell them that in 5-10 years you will be threatened, you will not you will not find maybe everything that it's affecting the crop yield and affecting it's threatening our food, it's a matter of food security, then the people will listen. So it also depends on the approach you bring the conversation of climate change. And when I came, I didn't know that I was the first Jordanian woman crossing 80 degrees North Pole. I came with certificate, and I think just the media picked on the subject, and I was just there talking about it and sharing this experience. It was an eye-opening experience on a personal level. And the thing which is really struck me the most is like how much ego we had when you go and see this magical, beautiful scenery, and you think how small you are, and you really understand how much important is planet Earth, and how much we did to damage it throughout the years, and how much responsibility we have to act and take action now to preserve it. And the ego I'm talking about is sometimes you are so blind, you think that you are like so small, so big, but you are actually so small in front of all this beauty and magic. And you feel like really responsible for what you have done and what you should do to preserve it and take action to try to mitigate what we are doing to our planet Earth.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Hessa, how did you decide to take up a career in the maritime industry?
Okay, then I was a board member to the authority which is in charge of land and maritime transport. And then our minister, he wanna give me the responsibility of land transport. At that time, both land and maritime, they were vacant. There were no CEO. So, and it was only for 6 months. So I asked him, Your Excellency, can I try the maritime at that time? And he was like surprised, but you know nothing about maritime. I said, yes, but when sometime you feel that there is something important, there is a mystery, you want to dig on it, you want to see what's behind this fancy name, what's behind this the whole globe is really behind it. It's not something small. It's not something that we really can summarize it in a small sector or even in an authority. I was designated only for 6 months with our minister, and it never ends. Now I spent more than 7 years at the same position. Working with the maritime. I really been attracted. When you join somewhere that you believe whatever you will do, you will do something good for your country. Whatever you will change, whatever you will, because we are the legislation. What even a small or big legislation we will come up with, we will benefit the whole industry. So this amount of knowing the importance of this sector makes me more passionate about it. I really love it. I love the thing that I can see the change. How we say it. When you do something and you see the result, you can see the result in a daily basis. This is really what I really like about the maritime sector. And this is why I really don't want to divert my position now. I really want to stay at the maritime sector and doing my best to flourish it and develop it.
I think it can easily be concluded like passion is the common denominator across all of it. It's passion that drives everybody, and it's so interesting to hear all your experiences. So on that note, I'm actually going to come to my last question, which is a common question to all the panelists. Please share some of your inspiring words, quotes, advice for the benefit of our listeners. I will start with Alison.
Thank you. I was going to talk about passion. I think this industry really rewards passion and interest. You may not know all the things that you want to know, but if you're passionate and interested, someone will take you under their wing and be like, oh, it's all right, I'll teach you because you've got the right attitude. You're keen. You want to know. And I think that's my advice is don't let anyone take your passion and your interest away from you. If you walk into a room and it's full of crap people, whether it's men or women who are just telling you no and telling you can't and just really being energy vampires, leave that room, right? We need to get better at telling women especially, leave the job, leave the room, leave the conversation. And more than that, use your voice. I've come across lots of entitled men who say lots of inappropriate things. And as soon as I clap back to them, they all go, ah, and run away, right? Stuff the crap people. If you are passionate and you are keen, do not let anyone tell you what you can and can't be interested in, what you can and can't do, and how you can and can't do it, unless it's a lawyer and it's a cartel, and then do not do cartels. I've had that conversation way too many times. But, take on Malak's, I'm going to steal Malak's point here, smash your own stereotypes, right? And don't, all these other voices that come in, the criticisms, the cultures, the bias, all of that negativity, just turn the volume down on it and turn the volume up on you and your self-belief and your passion. Because I started in this industry who was a nerd who'd done a general average law dissertation on the most niche part of general average, which is the most niche part of maritime law. And now I run my own law firm and I'm sitting on this panel. And the thing that drove me was passion and curiosity. So don't you let anyone else take that away from you.
Yes, absolutely. Elpi, same question to you.
I do totally agree with what Alison said. It's like if someone tells you you cannot do it, really think that someone else has done it, so you can definitely do it. You need to continuously have your ears open and your eyes open and learn. You have to learn every day new skills, new abilities, and never stop sharing your knowledge as well. Pass on the knowledge as well. It is very important. And never take no for an answer. Of course, don't be aggressive. Don't be, you shouldn't become the bully or anything. But there is, if you think you're right, most of the times it will be correct, because if you have done the proper research and you've studied enough, yes, you're correct. And don't take, I've heard a lot of no's. I've heard a lot of, isn't it better if you stay at home and, take care of your husband and your kids? And this comes from a society that is traditional, but not so traditional. So, yeah, why to bother? Even from my friends, why do you bother traveling? Because I want to do it. If I heard all these people, I would not be here with you ladies today, and probably I will be drinking coffee with my friends in a cafeteria. So this is a much better morning way to spend my morning. Really, thank you so much.
That was great. Hessa, the same question to you.
Actually, I want to advise everybody, you have to search for your interest. Don't work on something that you really don't like. If you like the thing that you work on it, you will feel the passion. You will give all your efforts, your time. You will be willing to manage between your family and your job. So don't force yourself to work on an area that you hate, because you spend more than 1/3 of your life in your job. So if you don't work on something you really like it and you're really passionate about it, so you won't enjoy 1/3 of your life. So look for your interest area. And whenever you find it, try to capitalize on it, stick with it, express your passion about it. Let everybody knows that you really like it. Then when they will see your passion and your efforts to deliver the best, they will keep supporting you all the time. So it's again about passion, but you have to know exactly what you are really passionate about, and don't let anybody to take it out of you. So, and that's it.
Shehara, same question.
Okay, I would say continuously challenge yourself, because only when you challenge yourself to do things that you are not comfortable with out of your comfort zone, then you will grow. So I continuously try to do that, and there's a very uncomfortable period when I think, oh my God, I've chewed off too much, I've taken on too much, but you get through it and you grow. So I think challenging yourself, and secondly, support other women, because together, collectively, we can achieve much more than we can achieve individually. And I've really seen this happen in my home country, and together we are stronger and we can change the world. And finally, I would say failures and hardships will come your way, and never give up. There will be days when you just feel you can't, and just dress up, show up, and turn up, and things will get better, and nothing will last forever. And make the most of with what you've been given, and have a good attitude and gratitude, and you will achieve all your dreams. Thanks.
That's true. Malak, same question.
Let me start by celebrating this moment. I really love all what the gorgeous ladies have said. I just want to build on it, actually. I mean, I want to start with that sometimes we tend to take ourselves for granted, especially in our darkest moments. So we got so tired, we forget, how our journey, like what the things, like what we have been experiencing to reach where we are. So sometimes we tend in our darkest moment to forget our accomplishments and take everything what we do on a, on a daily basis for granted. Please don't, because you're already doing great stuff. And the second thing I was, don't forget yourself. I mean, the thing sometimes we remove toxic people from our lives. You don't need noise. You don't need to get distracted. You need to be focused all the time. And I came up with 3 circles in my life. The first circle is friends and family. The second circle is trust and confidence. And the third circle is knowledge and value. Sometimes these circles overlap. So I always keep reminding myself of whom I want to be, like from my people to be in this circle. And I always visit and reflect on these 3 circles. It's keep me always going, always look, develop and form these circles. It will help you so much in your career. And you're also having this beautiful entrepreneurship mindset and beautiful behavior. Let the people see and feel your integrity and values. And again, don't forget who you are, and be grateful for yourself and accomplishments. And yeah, it's the moment always to celebrate life and the great people we have, and support system and the knowledge and all the men and women who've been in our journey.
So, I mean, I'm going to reiterate, this is truly a moment worth celebrating. The passion, the emotion, the excitement, and the drive that everybody has to build the self-image is so evident, and it's so beautiful at the moment. It's such a perfect way to end this session. I want to thank you all for spending valuable time with us. This discussion is really going to go down history. People are going to keep revisiting it. It's been extremely encouraging, motivating, and I'm wishing everybody the best. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.